living in my head. Sun came in, I'll close the blinds. Could feel it in the air. This is just a waste of time. No one really cares. But then you came across my mind, got me out of there. So I went down to the river and swam till the panic was over. Yes, I went down to the river, watched all the heavy rain. I watched all the heavy feeling all the noise in here. It's becoming ache. Pull me into calm and deep and take me out to the waves. 'Cause I feel like a waste of space, breathing in the air. But you hold me like I might just break, like you want me there. So I went down to the river and swam till the panic was over. Yes, I went down to the river, watched all the heavy rain. I watched all the heavy
Tinsley sends it to the outside. He can't get there. Kevin King is going to win the Barbizzo FTF Cup Series. Into the lead. Bud gets wrecked in front of the pack. He saves it. 3-4 wide as they come to the white flag. Lewis down on the apron. They are going wide. Ian Plash will win it at the line. Is this package? Oh, there goes Jordan Lopez Jr. That's your race leader. Caution flag is out.
Still no one willing to give up as they're going to be dead even off of the first chicane.
Oh, he saves it. What's going to happen here? Here comes McCandless. Get your foot there.
He's got it. He's got it.
McCandless is going to win.
Shenandoah Shine presents Legends of the Future. It's the season finale, the Roasted Gems Coffee 150, live from the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway in Charlotte, North Carolina. Glad to have you with us here on FTF for the last time this season. Jacob Pitts, Caleb Hoffman, Josh Mendoza with you, Zach Johnson, our producer for tonight. And Caleb, last race of the year, very similar to the race that we saw back at Atlanta, earlier this season. Mile-and-a-half cookie cutter racetrack. This place is fast. This place is slick.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to be keeping an eye on everything for you all day. You see as we get rolling here. Michael P. Frisch as the pole sitter. That car has a lot of speed. Kevin McAdams as well. These two are going to fight tooth and nail for every position here tonight. It's going to be a hard-fought championship battle for sure.
We'll get to that championship battle in just a moment. Quickly, though, we'll roll through your starting grid. Michael P. Frisch and Mitchell Riggs are on your front row. Kevin McAdams, Larry Pace, they're in row 2. Dylan Roberts, Gabriel Mauricio in row 3. David L. Brown, Logan Helton in 7th and 8th. Tyler Dubosh, Chris Yonke rounding out the top 10.
Looking back, you're going to have Jackson Van Valkenburg starting alongside Matthew Zwack in row number 6, Ashton Slice and Philip McCandless in row 7, Matt Taylor, Alex Kolonix in row 8, Blake McCandless and Matt Spalding in row 9, running out your top 20, Paul Gallimore and Cole Freilich.
And the rest back here, Michael Cozy Jr. starts 21st, Andy Thompson 22nd, Matthew Gretchen, Art Reimer, then Adam Martin, Davis Warren, Terry Murphy, and Michael Moody, Michael Klein, Jake Nichols, rounding out your top 30, 7 more from there. We'll run through them really quick. Falkingham, Tires, Guerrilla, Butler, Sturgill, Plessel, and Malillo. Just a reminder, by the way, your pole sitter, Michael P. Frisch, he won the World 600 we ran here that Blake McCandless put on back in July. Now on to the point situation. It's tight for the top spot. Let's go to Josh.
We started this race off here, 52 points separating Michael P. Frisch and Kevin McAdams. That point differential has already changed before we start the green flag. Frisch is on the pole. Will get 4 points of bonus right to his name. He'll also be starting in first. As it stands currently, that's 38 points. If he crosses the line first in front of the field, he'll also get an additional bonus point, moving that gap down to 37 points.
Josh is going to be doing the math for us live. So we get set to go. Final lap of pacing, and we added that lap in there just so we could make sure that we got through everything that we needed to get through. Also some nice battles for points throughout the rest of the order. And the big question, Caleb, is who's going to be your champion? 58 of Michael P. Frisch, 26 of Kevin McAdams. Kevin had a tough go of it back in the Legend 500 2 weeks ago at Daytona.
Yeah, I mean, that last lap wreck that we saw in the Legend 500 really opened the door here for Michael P. Frisch. Looking last week at Richmond as well, very up and down, and you saw Frisch close that gap just a little more. But Kevin with a nice second place finish last week. He has a fair bit of momentum. Both of these guys have been, on hot streaks here lately. Michael P. Frisch, especially with that Legend 500 win. So interested to see how that plays out here today. We got a long race ahead of us, and may the best man win.
Here we go. It's all on the line between Michael P. Frisch and Kevin McAdams, and they're going to be having a good battle for your championship fight. Meanwhile, for the race, Frisch and Mitchell Riggs lead us down. We're racing for the last time this season from Charlotte. Caution is out. They're wrecking in turn 4. Terry Murphy's in the outside wall. Michael Moody has gone around as well. And Caleb, it did not take long for the championship battle to take off. McAdams and Frisch wheel to wheel for the lead, headed back to the start-finish line, but the caution comes out before they can finish the first lap.
Yeah, and you saw Frisch move up in turn 1 there to get in front of Mitchell Riggs, and Kevin McAdams said, "Don't mind if I do." You'll get a replay of our caution right here. As you said with Michael Moody right there. Wow,
Oof.
big sin. I guess he just didn't see that they were checking up ahead of him. Great job by that field to make it through and only have a 2-car incident here.
Yeah, Murphy checks up for the 110 of Matthew Gretchen, and there's nowhere really for Michael Moody to go. And a tough break there for the driver of the 77. So he'll get that worked out, at least for now. Some folks deciding to come onto the pit lane, those in the back of the field. And already, let's go to Josh.
Yeah, lots has already changed right here with leading 1 lap and taking that first position. Kevin's already 54 points now better. You know that started at 38. That's amazing how quickly these things swing. 54 points now separates Frisch and Kevin, and it's just going to throw a random number in there to see what happens. It'll be 59 points if Kevin leads the most laps here and Frisch is not able to lead a single lap. So just keep that in mind. That whole point separation, first versus fourth, now first and second, swings like crazy, especially if they swap positions.
Yeah, and I mean that's what we're all focused on here is Michael P. Frisch. You know, even if he does beat out Kevin narrowly, I mean he's going to need a tough race from Kevin here, where he's going to have some misfortune and get maybe collected in something here. Just a little bit of additional help Michael P. Frisch is going to need here, which makes it all the more harder because you have to worry about not only running your own race, but focusing on where this other car is the whole time.
It's got to be convenient right now since they're nose to tail, but if we get a long green flag run in, that could really shake things up, and perhaps their strategy could be influenced by whether or not they need points on the racetrack. Did you know it's only 9 days to the Bar Visuals FTF 500? I can't believe it's next week. We do qualifying tomorrow. You'll see that on FTF 2. And from there, that night, the Bruck Clash will be taking place. I believe you'll see that on FTF 2 as well. I'm going to double check. I should have pulled this up before I talked about it.
Yeah,
there it is. Okay, so poll day part 1, 4 sessions, each of them lasting an hour long. You get 1 lap. Qualifying opens 5 p.m. Eastern Time. There are 4 sessions. All will run back to back to back, so 5 to 6, 6 to 7, and on. You get 1 lap. You cannot redo your attempt. You set 1 lap, and that's that. And then at 10 o'clock, the Bruck Clash, 40 laps. That's all on FTF2. And then Saturday, 3 o'clock, same deal with qualifying, 1 lap, 4-hour time. That's on FTF2. And then the duels Saturday night, those you'll find right here on FTF. Pace car is in. Kevin McAdams will lead us back down for the restart. 4 laps complete. We're back underway here at Charlotte.
You see Kevin just launching off that restart. It really shows you how important that move he made in turns 1 and 2 was right when we got that quick caution, because now he has a little bit of a gap, almost 4/10 now to Frisch behind him, and Frisch is going to have to run him down here, which, I mean, just 5 laps ago was not the case.
He's got the joy of clean air right now, just car number 26, and he is using up every ounce that he can to try and pull away here from Frisch, but Frisch is back within 2 car lengths to turn 1.
And you see he was able to close that gap down just a bit. Entering the corner now, only 2 tenths, about halved it. We'll see here once again in turn number 3 if he tries a big send, and that he does. He's closed that down. He's almost there to the back bumper of the 26. So really on entry is where this 58 car is just miles faster than Kevin McAdams.
With the draft now, he looks to the inside, stays on the back bumper of car number 26, battle for the lead, but also valuable championship points. You look out the back window of car number 26.
And being this close must just be torture for that 58 machine, Michael P. Frisch. You know, every lap that ticks by, you know, Kevin here, he wants to have some of those extra bonus points to fall back on in case he does find himself in a little bit of trouble, which is so easy to do. So Michael P. Frisch right now, it is just pure desperation trying to get around Kevin McAdams right now.
And remember, it is a 150-lap race. It is a long, long night for these guys. It's not a 600-miler, but still, it's not an easy task for the drivers out there.
Here comes Michael P. Frisch. He had a run and is going to launch this car down to the inside. Does he have enough to complete this pass? Just barely. He has the nose to his outside still, was almost clear of him there, but if he can get a good entry into turns 1 and 2, you will see a new leader here, still side by side into 1 and 2.
Frisch throws it in on the bottom. That allows Mitchell Riggs to get into the picture. Kevin's able to drop back down into P2. Frisch retakes the lead, but now it is a full-on train. Here comes David L. Brown looking to the inside of Mitchell Riggs for 3rd.
And, I mean, don't get so caught up in the championship that you start to forget about some of these other guys. A lot of these guys are really fast. David Brown, hasn't had a lot of luck this season, but had a good finish last week at Richmond that's really spurred his momentum. Mitchell Riggs is also really fast as well, but not when he's tagging the wall like he just did out of turn number 4, and that's going to allow Larry Pace down to his inside. Dylan Roberts as well after the win last week. Tyler DuBois, Logan Helton, a lot of fast guys up here in the top 10 trying to spoil the party for Kevin McAdams and Michael P. Frisch.
David L. Brown's going to do that right here at turn 3. Gets by underneath the 26, and he is able to clear car 26. Kevin doesn't put up much of a fight. Slide that 83 into position number 2. Still just 10 laps into this race here when they cross the stripe.
Yeah, and a really smart move by Kevin there. Short-term loss, long-term gain. Hopefully doesn't want to really put up much of a fight and, risk tearing up his equipment. Maybe if we do get a long run here, he really wants to have some of those fresher tires in his back pocket, not worn out so much from trying to battle side by side here.
See one car up on the outside, that red number 60, that's Tyler DuBois. Yeah, everybody else, at least in this lead train, all hugging the bottom of the racetrack through the corners to Josh.
Yeah, I was looking right here and I was thinking about the strategy here that Kevin can make. He might be losing positions as we see him on the track, but one of the things he's going to give up is give up faster cars to go and attack Frisch, maybe lose that lead and continue to maintain the most laps led. He's currently at 7, Frisch is at 4. Back to you.
See Logan Helton way up the hill there. DuBois going to get underneath him. And now here comes Larry Pace to the inside of car number 26 and Kevin McAdams. That's the battle for P3.
And you see Kevin didn't quite have it right there with Mitchell Riggs. Tried to clear himself, but that 09 car was right there. But I liked your point there, Josh, where maybe David L. Brown can go and try and challenge Michael P. Frisch for this lead, but even so, right now, David Brown's just a little slower than Michael P. Frisch right now. So that 58 car currently on rails, maybe he's hoping that changes as we get later into this run. But right now, this 26 just plummeting. Was 3rd last lap and now finds himself outside of the top 5, maybe even more.
Remember how this season started for Kevin McAdams. It was a win under caution at Talladega in a controversial finish. Because of how everything planned out there. There were iRacing yellows. They crashed on the only overtime attempt. And McAdams was able to come away with the win. Sean Butler won Michigan. Wilkesboro, that belonged to Blake McCandless. Atlanta, went to Tyler Gary. Logan Helton won Bristol. Rockingham went to Larry Pace. Logan Helton won Darlington. And then you get to Daytona, and that's where Frisch was able to win his way into the championship fight. He'd been consistent all year long up to that point, but he hadn't gotten the chance to go to victory lane. Well, he did so at Daytona on the biggest stage, 500 miles, and that put him in the driver's seat as far as championship. You're out on board with Kolonix. Before last week, Dylan Roberts getting the win at Richmond, and Frisch found himself on the outside still to Kevin McAdams. He was 42 back after Daytona. He lost 10 points to Kevin last week at Richmond.
And I mean, you saw that on board with Alex Kolonix. This front pack starting to break away just a little bit, and Alex Kolonix is really the chain between these two groups. You see Jackson Van Valkenburg sitting 11th right now, and he's got a considerable gap back to Gabriel Maruccio. Looking back even further, though, there's still guys that I feel like could make some noise if they got up here. Sean Butler's been on the move, Michael Cozy Jr. as well. So a lot of these guys maybe just waiting for a little bit of a reset before they go and challenge this lead group. Even up at the front, we have sort of a two-car breakaway at this point with Michael P. Frisch and David L. Brown, who are still in nose-to-tail formation.
Yeah, Sean is your biggest mover so far, plus 17 spots since the drop of the green flag. He sits 17th. He started back in the 34th position. I do not believe he set qualifying time in. So 17 laps complete. Everything calming down for the moment. You see Sean there in a bit of trouble, and back to the leaders we go. David L. Brown still trying to reel in Frisch. David L. Brown, he is looking somehow for his first win on the season. You would think that he would have gone to victory lane with how fast he is in these cars, and he hasn't been able to do it yet. He was close back at Daytona. He's been close a couple times this year. Hasn't been able to get it done.
And again, back to David O'Brien. It's just been really unfortunate luck for this 83 car this year, getting involved in other people's messes and making uncharacteristic mistakes. And last week we talked to him after the race, where he was just talking about, being so proud of finally putting together a run. And here he is again. I mean, that's all it takes sometimes is once you're able to kind of prove that to yourself, it can really unlock some of the rest of your performance. You can put that bad juju perhaps behind you. And you see him right now. He's second, and he's still hanging with Michael P. Frisch.
Down the back straightaway, pretty evenly spaced, your top three. Then behind Larry Pace is where things get a little stacked up. Riggs, Helton, McAdams, Roberts, Dubois, Yockey, McCandless, Van Valkenburg, Kolonix all in that train as well. Cozy a couple of tenths behind them. 20 laps complete.
Now looking around, we're starting to see a little bit of testing the waters, not so much through the middle of the corner, but on entry, you're starting to see guys experiment just a little, and you can see it with Kevin McAdams here as well, just arcing the car a little bit different, so he's able to get down underneath Logan Helton right here, and that's going to push Logan Helton up. On board now with Kevin McAdams.
And Kevin is somebody that saves his tires early in runs, and you wonder if maybe that's what we saw after the restart. After he got passed by Frisch, that just taking it easy on those tires, maybe realized he was burning his stuff up a little too much. Track temperature right now, a cool 125 degrees. The air temp, 68 degrees. So a big difference between air temp and track temp. The track here at Charlotte just absorbs the heat from the sun, and oh my gosh, we have a weather graphic. All right, Zach.
Yeah, get your claps in. But yeah, I mean,
Riggs underneath Pace as well. Oh man.
Yeah, Logan Helton. I thought he was going to clip his rear quarter right there, and you see to the inside of Larry Pace now. Kevin McAdams maybe sees an opportunity to try to get two birds with one stone here. He's not going to quite have it, but he may be able to get Larry Pace. You see him wash up just a little bit, try to get the run off, but I think Larry Pace is going to have the advantage there, able to clear back down in front of him. And that's what's so fun about these two is, Kevin McAdams, the way he races, it is more of a conservative approach. But even so, when he does face adversity, he's able to crawl his way back up to the top. We saw that again with Michael P. Frisch, as one car just tagged the wall. I think that might have been Logan Helton. But both of these guys are so good at just rebounding always and making sure that they still have a horse left in the race.
No doubt about it. 24 laps complete. Here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway in the Roasted Gems Coffee 150, Michael P. Frisch, your leader, narrowing or trying to narrow that championship gap. But Kevin McAdams charging back toward the front. We'll regroup when we come back here on FTF. Mitchell Riggs in trouble. Look out. We're still under green. That was the battle for second. David L. Brown got into him, and both of them going to lose numerous spots. Perfect timing as we come back from break. Kevin McAdams now in P number 2. Dylan Roberts takes over 3rd. Riggs falls to 6th. David L. Brown falls to 7th. And he's got a snarling pack of race cars behind him, Caleb.
Yeah, you saw that battle go sour very quickly. And I mean, at the line right now, that really helps out Michael P. Frisch, who now has almost a half a second margin back to Kevin McAdams, who has been slowly but surely crawling his way up. Really was helped out by that. And now it's just up to Kevin. What pace does he want to try to go chase down Kevin McAdams and maybe burn up his stuff a little bit? Or does he want to save this stuff for later in the run and maybe, let Frisch come to him a little bit? So that'll be interesting to see. We'll get a replay here for you on what happened between second place Mitchell Riggs and David Brown.
Oh, it's like he lifted for Frisch and David L. Brown just got in the back of him there. They were too close together. Great save by car 09.
And a great job by everybody around the 09 not to pile in and overreact and cause a secondary accident. So the fact that we're still green flag racing, a testament to just how much talent is flowing around up here at the front of this pack.
Back to the point situation with Josh Mendoza.
Yeah, I was gonna over break. I was mentioning to the guys here that it's advantageous to Frisch to at least let somebody through for some point in time to get however many laps that Kevin McAdams has plus 1 lead, which would currently be 8 laps, because that would move Kevin from gaining 3 points as the second most laps led to 2 points for the third most laps led. If he doesn't, That gives an extra point to Kevin, which, as far as I'm concerned, with these points swing and that little move there, he was 31 points behind. Now he's 41 points with Kevin in second. It's all about give and take right now, and Frisch needs to be 150% points racing, which I think he'll be able to do just fine.
About a fifth of the way through the Roasted Gems Coffee 150. Here from Charlotte, Frisch has led the most laps so far. Kevin, the only other driver that's led any laps, and they're your top two. And at this point, Caleb, you got to start thinking about the potential for pit stops, particularly under.
Yeah, I mean, right now you're able to visibly see it throughout this run. It's just how much worse these cars are handling compared to at the start of this run. About 35 laps into it, lap times have fallen off by almost 2 seconds at this point. So you gotta think that maybe sometime soon we'll start to see guys who want that fresh rubber with fuel as well. But here we go, back up at the front. Kevin McAdams is on the inside of Michael P. Frisch for the lead.
Put together a couple of good laps. Fastest that last time by Frisch, 2/10 off, and put Kevin back out in front to turn number one. Dylan Roberts kind of waiting in the wings in P number 3. Could open up the door for the 63 Logan Helton, the two-time winner this season. He stays there in P4. We're still side by side at the front.
You see McAdams on the inside here. Gonna drift up just a little bit. Frisch got to get out of the gas to give him some room. And you see Dylan Roberts now in the equation, and again, an already uphill battle for Michael P. Frisch here. We knew coming in that it would be, but now this situation's getting worse by the second with Dylan Roberts to his inside, Logan Helton as well, and now all of a sudden you're looking at Michael P. Frisch, who could potentially, at worst, be looking at a fourth place position here right now.
There was a point where he was only 21 points behind Kevin McAdams, the tightest the margin had been. Now that gap is up over 50 points, and he's about where he started the evening before qualifying.
And again, coming in, we knew there was a lot of work that needed to be done for Michael P. Frisch here, but the amount of pace that Kevin McAdams has tonight is a little disheartening, I would imagine, for this 58. But here he goes for the lead once again in turn number 3. He had to run down the backstretch, and now on the inside, side by side, this is for the lead.
Helton with the draft help to McAdams. Frisch fighting hard on the bottom as Melillo comes off the pit lane there. On board with car number 26. About 3 wide for the lead.
Yeah, Logan Helton really wanting to spoil the party here. He's 3 wide middle. That car got super loose off exit there, trying to battle and especially trying to be extremely courteous to these two fighting for a championship. Dylan Roberts now to the outside of Michael P. Frisch momentarily. Logan Helton looks like he might have the run off the corner that allows him to take over the second position. And he will, actually has a run. Looks like he wants to try to make a move, just doesn't have the real estate to make it.
Frisch still fighting hard on that inside line, and he may be burning his tires up a little bit trying to do that as cars have kind of ganged up on the outside now. Roberts is there. Pace is there. Cozy is there. Meanwhile, you have Brown and Kolonix down on the bottom of the racetrack. Mitchell Riggs kind of aimlessly between the inside and the outside. Kevin up the hill. Here comes Frisch with a run off the corner. Side by side for the lead.
And you're going to see Logan and Kevin here with a run. And what that 3-wide battle did, even just for a moment, has really let Dylan Roberts back into this. Larry Pace as well. David Brown's back up here. Alex Kolonix has started to crawl up. Michael Cozy Jr.'s even in here, and a little bit of contact now between Cozy and Kolonix. Kolonix going to go back up the track. Close call there further on back, but all of a sudden we have 5-6 cars right under a blanket here, and all of this could change in 1 second.
Cozy said he was trying to keep it down there. Car got tight on him. These things are not easy to drive. Down the front straightaway, Frisch will lead the lap with that outside line. Hard charging as ever. McAdams with Helton pushing him into turn number 1. We'll see if it gets that 26 out of shape on the high side. Frisch is almost clear. He is clear off turn 2.
And Kevin McAdams right there, it washed up high just a little bit with that help from Logan Helton, and all of a sudden now Frisch has control of it. But here comes Logan Helton, big run on the outside. He really sent it into that corner. Even Justin Malillo, a lap car, maybe trying to get his lap back here. He's going to tag the wall just a little bit. And now Logan Helton slot him into second position. Just lots of back and forth up here at the front of the field.
And that gave Frisch 20 points right there. Whoa, and he gets loose with Justin on his outside. Fresh tires for car 53. And he gets back onto the lead lap. And we'll see how long those tires hold on, as we're now 42 laps into this stint. Of course, they did have a caution in there on lap 1, but it was pretty quick. For the most part, they've had 40 laps under green on these tires. So the tires really have to be in trouble at this point. Helton's not done battling for the lead yet, up on the outside.
And I mean, I'm wondering if anybody from this lead pack, maybe not our front 3, but anybody further back, saw that corner speed out of the 53 car and maybe thinks here in the next few laps, hey, I want some of that. Because, you know, seeing that amount of difference can really make somebody change their mind. But everybody right now looks like they'll be content right now on these fresh tires. As you said, we had that early caution, but even then, that was only 2 laps. So we should be about 38, 39 laps under green flag conditions on these tires. And especially for guys like Michael Cozy Jr. back, Alex Kolnick, these guys that really had to work their way up. Their tires have to be screaming right now, as you see 3-wide battle almost, and a big wiggle out of Kevin.
And Kevin really got out of shape coming up off the corner. They're looking to go 3 wide, and Kolnick can't quite get to the inside there of Mitchell Riggs to make it happen. Now remember, in the World 600, we saw right rear tires literally blow under green, and that's pretty much what gave us a caution every 50 or so laps. We're getting close to that window at this point, so you don't want to completely stay out on the racetrack too long and blow a tire, because that could put you in a dangerous situation where then you would have to pit, you'd get a meatball, and you could bring out the caution flag.
And I mean, if we get to green flag pit stops here, once again, it throws an entirely different factor into this race where some of these guys that are pitting in, you see Larry Pace going to pull off the track now. Oh, close call between Sean, and that's going to send Phil McCandless around, and Ashton Slice as well in the tri-oval. They're going to get it sorted out. But that was literally going to be my point, was trying to get on pit road here, and having a clean cycle of pit stops is so important. That can literally make or break your race. And you saw it there. Sean Butler almost was involved in that. And then Ashton Schleiss.
Frisch is coming in this lap. Oh, and so is the 77 of Terry Murphy. Look out. Oh, my. I can't believe it. They made it. Matthew Gretchen is a black flag. He sped on pit lane behind the leader. But your leaders are okay as far as making pit road speed. Logan Helton now your race leader. And we'll see how long it takes for this group of cars to come down onto the pit lane.
And honestly, I really like the call here from Michael P. Frisch. Obviously going to be 4 tires and fuel for all these guys. But don't let Kevin have an advantage over here. You see Logan Helton now going to come onto the pit lane. Alex Kolnick, Dylan Roberts, a part of that group as well. Kevin now declares over the radio that he's coming down. But, if you're Michael P. Frisch, get out here and set your hot laps while your opponent's on the pit lane getting service. So I really like the call to come in here earlier than everybody else for Michael P. Frisch.
I would think the rest of these guys going to come in this time by. That includes Kevin, your championship leader, David L. Brown, Michael Cozy Jr., everybody else. At least has visited pit road at least once, and Brown going to stay out another lap. We saw it work for him at Daytona because of a caution flag. No speeding penalties there from your top 2. And David L. Brown also clutching a little bit, trying to save some fuel. So David L. Brown leads. He still has yet to pit. Blake McCandless, Santiago Tires, Michael Guerrilla, Matt Taylor, Jake Nichols. They all pitted under our first caution flag, which was on the first lap. So they're not going to be too far behind as Brown makes the call. He's pitting this time by. Tierez going to do the same thing. He's about 5 seconds behind your race leader. And so far, so good there. So when things cycle around, I'm thinking maybe Larry Pace, as he's got Frisch all over his rear bumper here. This is the battle for the eventual lead, as there goes Kevin off the pit lane. And Frisch is going to leapfrog his points rival by a good bit here.
And we'll see as they continue to cycle out. Looks like the only 2 cars on the racetrack that have not yet come to pit lane are the 71 machine of Blake McCandless and Jake Nichols, who all the guys on fresh tires are now making their way around.
McCandless still out in front. Has yet to pit in car number 71. Jake Nichols is going to pit this time, though.
And I don't think that we'll see Blake stay out for too much longer here, which will give Frisch the lead. And you see big gap here now between Michael P. Frisch and Kevin McAdams. And I'm sure Kevin will make up a few spots here, but still, as of right now, as they run, this is probably the biggest margin between these two that we've seen all day.
Josh, do we know what that margin is sitting at right now?
Yeah, he's currently -2 points. He's still 2 points behind, even sitting third right now.
Well, so McCandless still out in front, and I think he's led only about 3 or 4 laps here.
Yeah,
so not enough to surpass Kevin.
That's what I was going to, Blake here, it's a really interesting situation if you're Michael P. Frisch, and Blake now calls out that he will be pitting. But, I mean, if you are Michael P. Frisch at this moment, in the lead, I mean, do you even have a thought that you let Chris in the 14 right, around you to maybe let him try to lead a few and surpass Kevin, or do you just continue on your own conquest here and try to lead as many laps as possible?
I think you might keep on trucking, but we'll have to see. The field was a full lap behind McCandless. So this is still second place you're looking at. That'll change once they come back around. Where they're at right now, according to Josh, they're tied, and I would imagine here, once Frisch takes the lead, that he would have the advantage. As Frisch now out in front. Back to the lead. Kevin now jumps up to P12, passing McCandless, who's still coming off the pit lane. And he's got about 8/10 to get to Tyler Dubois. So Kevin really far behind. It looks like the move to stay out longer did not work here, Caleb.
And again, that's what I was mentioning when we saw Frisch in the pit lane, is put down your fastest laps on this run while Kevin is still stuck in the pit lane. And when Frisch had that group, that pack of cars come with him as well, and all of them had, really clean stops. It really has now put a buffer in between these two, where Michael P. Frisch, has that advantage of being in the lead and having that buffer of cars that came in behind him as well. So Kevin sitting back here in 12th, he's got a lot of ground to make up. Almost a second to Tyler Dubois in front of him, and even further to Jackson Van Valkenburg. I think that's almost a 2-second margin between those guys. So Kevin, an uphill battle in this run for sure, and that round of pit stops has really flipped his championship battle on its ear.
Out in front here is Frisch, Yankee, 2/10 rather behind. Then Pace, Konix, and Zwack, the first close battle on the racetrack. Everything calming down for the time being, as it looks like we're settled into a green flag run. A third of the way through in the Roasted Gems Coffee 150. Michael P. Frisch, your leader, hunting for the championship. Still got a long way to go to get it done. We'll see what happens next after this here on FTF. Back here at Charlotte, Michael P. Frisch continues to lead. Kevin McAdams now continues to struggle. He's down to 13th. Josh, where are the points at?
Yeah, as it stands right now, Frisch is actually in the championship lead. He's 5 points to the good. Kevin falling backwards in a time he needs to be moving forwards. I don't think going in early is going to help his situation at all. And again, like I said before, it may be advantageous to Frisch to have him let some other people lead as soon as he gets those most laps led clinch. That'll be at lap 76. He'll do that. Well, once he leads his 76th lap, that'll do that. Right now, I'll have to figure out that math, but he's at 40 laps led. So do the math.
Alex Kolnix has taken over P2. Yankee now sits in third. Great battle for fourth. Logan Helton, Larry Pace duking it out for position. Sean Butler there as well.
And Larry Pace, these last few laps, he's just been bleeding positions out and starting to plummet just a little bit. Ran a 34.2 2 laps ago. Got that back up to a 34.0 and now just ran a 35.45, excuse me. So he was the first car to come in from this lead pack, and we might be starting to see that tire wear come into effect here. I mean, the track's cooled off just a little, still sitting at 119 degrees, but it's still scorching by all means.
Helton, the outside there, trying to get by Yankee. Trying to do the best he can, and it's been a relatively clean day at the racetrack.
Oh, contact!
As
Yankee.
I say it.
Yeah.
Sean apologizes. Hashtag sorry, Sean. By the way, Ashton Schleiss has parked the car. He is done for the night. 63 laps in. The Roasted Gems Coffee 150.
And we already saw it was Frisch, Kolnix, and Logan Helton running away just a little bit, but it's really extended this margin they have now with that slight bit of contact. And Chris Yankee now under attack from the 00 of Larry Pace. Behind them, you see Mitchell Riggs, Dylan Roberts side by side. Matthew Zwack may want in on that action as well. So as much infighting as you can have in this pack, I mean, I'd say the better for Michael P. Frisch. Van Valkenburg getting passed by Dubois as well, because Kevin McAdams right now has not made up that much ground.
Well, you say that, but now Kolnix has caught Frisch here for the lead. So while they continue to fight behind, second place has started to break away. He misses the corner a little bit here in turn 2. But he's still reeling in Frisch. He had a faster lap that last time by. We can go on board with car number 22.
Yeah, lots of speed out of Kolnix for sure. And again, if you're Michael P. Frisch right now, I'm not so sure that you want to let Kolnix around you, because every single one of these positions is so valuable to you. You only have a 5-point margin at this point. Now you see Kolnix down to the inside, and he will nose out in front of the 58 machine. And even if Kevin's able to make up one spot, all of a sudden you're looking at an even margin once again, which is not going to go in your favor. So, I mean, if you are Michael P. Frisch, I'd say you want to retain this lead as much as possible. But Alex Kolnix with different ideas here as he's going to wash up the track off turn number 4. I think he's going to have the run off the corner as well.
That was close between almost contact between cars 22 and 58. Back to turn number 1, still side by side. Ford the lead, and I think the big question to answer your question, Caleb, is whether or not Frisch thinks he can get back by Kolnix. If he thinks he can get by him again, he may choose to let him go and let him lead a couple laps. If he doesn't think he can get back by him, he's going to want to fight for this lead, but that's allowing car 63, Logan Helton, car 32, Sean Butler, to get back into the picture.
And I mean, you got to think too, Logan Helton has his own interest. He's not going to be a pushover by any means here. We saw it earlier when Kevin and Frisch were side by side. He put his nose in there to make it 3 wide for the lead. So you know, not only do you have to focus on whether or not you think you can get the lead back from Kolnix, you got to think, can you fend off Logan Helton if you let this 22 car by? Which either way, he's going to be in it if they continue to remain side by side here like they are.
Still wheel to wheel at the front of the field. A little bit of a wiggle out of car 22. Frisch will lead it at the line. 69 laps complete here at Charlotte. Kalanick's to the inside looking for the lead, but Frisch roaring back on the outside.
And Michael P. Frisch right now with control what you can control mindset, just not wanting to let go of this lead. He wants to go out there and run the best race that he can, and that means lead the most laps as possible. Keep that 58 machine out front, and off at turn number 2, looks like he's going to have a little bit of a run. And on the inside, they're still side by side. This 22 machine, Alex Kalanick's not going away without a fight.
Best battle we've had all night long. And it's up here at the front, closing in on the halfway point. Frisch on the outside. Kalanick's on the inside in that 22 car. Kalanick's has had the speed all season long. He just doesn't have the results to show for it. It's gotten involved in many crashes, many incidents late in the races this season, and it's cost him from having a legitimate shot at the title. And here he is now, trying to go out on top by winning the last race of season 1.
Frisch got so close to that wall entering turn number 1, and here now he's going to have that run on Kalanick's once again, and it's just been a big back and forth battle of where that momentum has been. You know, you get that run up by running a little bit higher. You keep your momentum up, and I think finally now Frisch sent it in. Now you see Kalanick's with that run on the inside, you know, from back in that corner up just a little bit, and these two different mentalities of how to run the corner here, you know, both of them are really paying off for both of these drivers. Alex Kalanick's has been backing up that corner just a little, and Frisch sending it in a little harder on that outside.
Jackson Van Valkenburg, by the way, he has parked the car. He came onto pit road, had a speeding penalty. So, got the wall, and that's why he came onto the pit lane. And actually, he writes in and says, didn't want to damage the, or it didn't want his damage, rather, to ruin the championship race, and didn't want to go back out there and try and influence the championship battle. So, perhaps a good move there. Is now another car got the wall. That's Michael Klein. He's on the pit lane, getting his car worked on, and he just left. So another one bites the dust. Josh.
Yeah, I was following that battle, and one of the interesting things that I don't know if you guys saw during that battle is Kevin McAdams made up one position to 12th, and that moved the battle that was happening right there to be super duper important. With Frisch being behind Alex, that is going to result in him being 3 points behind Kevin. If he's ahead of Alex, that's 2 points ahead of him. So it's basically an on-track battle right now is what you were seeing with this 22 and the 58 of who wins the championship if Kevin stays in 12th for the rest of this race.
Matt Spalding is in trouble. No, that's McCandless around. He toes it. We're still green. Frisch is pitting this time here. It's only been 30 laps. We're at the halfway point, and Frisch is already making the call to come onto the pit lane. This is some 10 laps early.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe he saw the dividends that paid off from last run. You know, momentarily he's going to be behind Kevin here because I don't think everybody's going to follow the same cycle as he is. But I mean, if he can make up some time here, and he does lock up those tires just a little bit.
I don't know how he didn't speed. Locking up that much, he barely got that thing down to speed.
But I mean, again, if he thinks he can make up track position this way, he was running, you know, from the lead. But I mean, as we cycle through this run, he thinks it might pay off for him. Then we'll see right here. It's a very interesting call, as you said, to come, 10 laps earlier than they did last run.
Frisch down and away. 4 tires stop. He's back rolling off the pit lane. We are past halfway. Obviously, this gives the advantage right now to Kevin McAdams. Almost 3 wide back here, staggered. Roberts, Pace, and Sean Butler.
And I mean, it all depends on when the rest of this field's coming down. Maybe he wants to influence some more of this lead pack, but I just don't know if he's really maximizing these fresh tires right here. You see Matt Spalding just called over the radio that he's pitting this time. But again, I mean, you're going to be running your best laps of the run while trapped a lap down. So, again, an interesting call. Michael P. Frisch, after that move, first car a lap down, running 27th at the moment.
For the lead, here comes Kolonix. Around the outside, Logan Helton on the inside, trying to take it away.
And again, we saw Logan Helton with very aggressive moves earlier, and he has decided that he wants to make a charge for the lead here. Doesn't quite have the run off the corner that Kolonix did. He's going to try to get it this time by running higher. And wow, Alex Kolonix, a big sin through the middle of the corner. You saw the car slide up. Oh, and he's actually going to tag the wall, and now Logan Helton is going to fly by the number 22 here.
And Helton takes the lead, and Kolonix says that Racing Frisch kind of screwed up his tires. And his tire's now on fire, and that's why he got up into the outside wall. Didn't quite have the grip.
And it's so easy to misjudge that as well. Looking back right here, though, for having just tagged the wall, he is right here glued to the back bumper of Logan Helton still. And again, with how the tires are feeling right now, it's going to be very difficult to have to race the racetrack and Logan Helton at the same time. And he's going to back off here. Logan Helton, big send into the corner, maybe try to make it up on exit.
Kolonix to the outside. Helton covers the spot. Will Helton make the move, or will Kolonix make the move rather? Lap car behind Lucas Plessel. He just stopped the same lap as Frisch. That's those magic tires, those fresh tires doing the magic.
Yeah, we saw a similar thing with Justin Melillo as well, just a few laps before the rest of the field pitted. So maybe we see a similar effect here. But up at the front, Alex Kolonix, Logan Helton, Dylan Roberts has a good gap to everybody behind him. Sean Butler up inside the top 5, and now you start to hear a few guys up here coming down the pit lane.
Freilich coming in. Believe Zwack is pitting. Yep, here he comes. Flying onto pit lane, locking the tires up. Somehow he got it to pit road speed. Here comes Freilich. He makes it in a little cleaner, and he gets onto the pit lane without any issues. For the lead, once again, nose to tail. Kolonix thought about going for the dive, but thought better of it.
And interesting here, side by side between Tyler Dubois and Sean Butler, but another car to keep your eye on here. Michael P. Frisch, with these fresher tires, is almost to a point where he can maybe unlap himself and potentially put some good distance between himself and the rest of this lead pack when they come off the pit lane after they pit here in a few laps. But you see this 22 all over the back of this 63. I don't think they have any intention of pitting soon, battling this hard for the lead.
And they've got another... Oh! Contact! Helton around! Can he save it? No! Maybe through the grass.
Oh, and
somebody
Larry
called
Pace.
it out.
Oh, Mitchell Riggs, 4 wide through the grass. And that was for the lead. A big move from the 09 car and put him all the way up at the front. He did the Dale Sr. pass in the grass here at Charlotte.
He never lifted. He never lifted. And passed 4 cars in the grass going to turn number 1. Frisch tried to do the same thing as a lap car. He only made it by 2. Big move from Mitchell Riggs to put him out in front. Somebody called out for Helton that he was pitting. Kolonix didn't get the message, didn't realize that the call was for Helton. Here's the replay.
And you'll see Logan Helton around up ahead of him. Mitchell Riggs right here, as you said, Jacob, just never lifts. You see 3 wide, makes it 4 wide through the grass, and slots himself up as the lead car. Just an incredible move from the 09, but back up at the front now. Larry Pace looking to change that once again. They're side by side for the lead.
There's the contact. Dylan Roberts had to really check up. Everybody did. Riggs was the only one that really didn't, because they were out of harm's way by that point. And that's what let him fly right on through. Now he is under attack, as you mentioned. Pace on the high side, Kolnick's on the bottom. Frisch was able to get his lap back and get back around all these guys. Mitchell Riggs making the call. He is pitting this time by. That's going to get dicey here. They're going to have to go 3 wide so Riggs can get out of the pit lane.
And it's so difficult when you're packed in like this to really communicate with everybody around you, and you see just the slightest bit of miscommunication it can really come back to bite you, as you saw there with Logan Helton. But everybody's going to get onto pit road there cleanly. Dylan Roberts
will join him.
Polonix right now side by side. But I mean, even bigger right here, running 21st right now on the lead lap is Michael P. Frisch. So we'll see as they cycle on here to the pit lane. We'll really be able to see the benefits of having pitted about 10 laps early.
Pace coming in. Art Reimer going to be coming in this time. Pace makes it onto pit road without any issues. Your leader, Dylan Roberts, he says he's coming in this time by.
Dubois with the move here.
Inside. Yep.
Yeah, and he had that run, wanted to go somewhere with it. Dylan Roberts going to pit ahead of him, and Dubois right there was not in position to really account for that. So that's going to give that spot back to Alex Kolnick, who will re-inherit the lead here with Tyler Dubois, Chris Yonke in second. They were looking like they were almost going to make it 3 wide. Yonke backs out of it. Now Sean Butler to the inside of that number 14, and maybe can make a run at Dubois here off the corner.
We'll see. Sean has to get back in line. A couple more cars say they're coming to pit road. Philip McCandless parked the car, by the way, so add him to the list. Excuse me. As Sean to the inside of Yonke again for position number 3. Gabriel Mauricio hits the pit lane. And Yonke going to be coming in this time by.
Everybody's still just trying to navigate through. And these guys on fresh tires are going to be flying by any second now.
50 laps to go. 59 to go, rather. So here's Yonke. He's going to be coming in, as will Sean Butler. Butler's going to pass him, getting onto the pit lane.
Great job for Sean there not to end up speeding. It looks like our leader's going to be pitting now this time.
That's Kolnick. Dubois in second. Canlis still staying out long like he did the first time around. Cozy, McAdams, Nichols, Brown, McCandless, Dubois, and Taylor have yet to make, rather not Taylor. Oh man, look out, Murphy. Almost got clobbered by Dubois. Black flag, Terry Murphy, he's a lap down. But the cars on the lead lap get on safely, except for maybe they might need a new pair of pants.
Yeah, that's so difficult right there when you have a car sending it into the pit lane. You can see the 77 machine trying to get slowed down, just misjudges it again. Trying to get down from race speed, very difficult, especially with Tyler Dubois right there behind you. You don't want to check up too much and potentially have a little bit of contact. So, black flag, really unfortunate, but that's far from what could have been worst case scenario there for Terry Murphy. Big wiggle out of Adam Martin out of turn number 2. He scrapes the wall, almost had a spinner right there in the 87 machine, and he is just coming off the pit lane as well. Blake
McCandless, your leader, has a second and a half over David L. Brown. Brown is under fire, though. Lap car Logan Helton flying by. Mitchell Riggs going to try and do the same. Kevin McAdams is on the lead lap and still has yet to make his stop.
And I mean, looking at Michael P. Frisch right now, he really has closed this margin down. You see he's starting to chase down. You see Matt Taylor in front of him. He has yet to come down and pit. Now, Frisch is going to be on pretty aged tires as well at this point in the run, almost 20 laps into his own stint. But momentarily, at least, this 58 car, it looks like he's going to have a considerable advantage on some of these guys who opted to pit later.
I just don't know how this is going to work out here for Kevin. I feel like Frisch has him beat unless the next time Frisch pits, because they're all going to have to stop one more time. Unless when he stops, they get a caution, and that gets him pinned a lap down. That's about the only way I could see things going well for car number 26. The fact that things have gone green playing into the favor of car 58. There you see Kevin getting passed by a couple of lap cars. He got by David L. Brown, and Falkingham and Larry Pace passed him. They're on fresh tires.
And I mean, looking right now, this Blake McCandless strategy might be playing into the hands of Michael P. Frisch as well. I know right now it looks like he's only led about 10 laps, but I mean, he could dethrone Kevin for that second place position and even further put Kevin in a worse position here.
Well, hold on. 52 to go. Oh, that's cozy. Look out. Did not speed. He's good. So here's the deal. Kevin's been out there for 50 laps. We're coming to 51 to go. Kevin's going to pit right here and maybe get killed. Oh, look out, turn 4. Chaos. Davis Warren in the wall. Kolinix almost gets turned. Davis Warren pulls the plug on the computer and gets out of town. And Sean Butler almost got killed 3 different ways coming off turn 4. Anyway, what Kevin's doing here may actually work because he's trying to make it to the end on this stop. Frisch has to pit one more time.
And, maybe that is the long play. As you said, trying to split this race into one more stop, it's going to be risky. And again, Michael P. Frisch is going to have an advantage here coming to, a lap time wise. But, as you said, it's going to be a big difference in only having to stop once and having to stop twice. For Michael P. Frisch as well. So great move by Kevin here to be able to adapt to Frisch's early strategy and really have a counterpunch per se for it.
Blake McCandless still on the racetrack. He is your race leader. Frisch is 23 seconds behind. He is only driving 0.2 faster than McCandless right now. So about 24 lap tire differential and only 0.2 on the racetrack. That's not a huge fall off here. And McCandless is probably going to have to pit here in a lap or two, but the way McCandless is driving, he could have a shot to make it on fuel and win this race if we're able to stay green.
And again, we'll see through him just try to push these runs as long as possible and potentially save himself a stop. But even so, it all depends on how these cautions fall. Frisch right now with a big gap to third place, soon to be second place, Mitchell Riggs, and it looks like Blake McCandless going to be coming down this next time by.
We've only had one caution, and it was on the opening lap. We've been good since then. McCandless to the pit lane. Matt Taylor, when he pitted, he got a black flag and he's going home. Taylor actually spun, and that's why he got the black flag. And yeah, he's just going home. Nonetheless, Frisch will retake the lead here. He's coming through 3 and 4. He has a 4-second gap and closing drastically to Mitchell Riggs. Mitchell Riggs on 12 lap fresher tires and is about half a second a lap faster than car 58. Remember, Frisch still has to pit. The guys that have just pitted within the last 5 laps might be the only folks that can make it to the end on fuel if there's no caution. Rich trying to clutch to make it as long as he can, but he can't save 75 laps
No,
on this.
absolutely
He's
not.
going to have to pit.
And again, right now, this is that zone where this move to pit early is really going to look good for Frisch. But looking back right now, he's kind of missed his window of opportunity where maybe you get a caution and you're able to trap Kevin a lap down. But Kevin right now is on the lead lap. So really he finds himself at a disadvantage long term here, which
now,
again, it's a really aggressive move by Frisch.
Larry
He just
Pace.
needs a little luck.
Larry Pace is pitting. He only pitted 15 laps ago. I think he's pitting here to make it to the end.
Yep. That's
But he
absolutely
only was
what it
out
is.
there for 15 laps.
I think you'll see. I think you'll see a gas and go maybe for Larry Pace. I just, yeah, as you said, only 15 laps on this set. You're going to be screaming at the end of this run, but it's going to have, if it saves you from making another one, I guess. No, he's going to take tires here too. Really interesting to only be out there for 15 laps.
Right sides only for Larry Pace. You have 7 tires in the pit, 6 tires in the pits. I would maybe take 4, but it depends on what everybody around you is going to do as well. Frisch is still your leader. The gap 3.2 seconds over Mitchell Riggs right now. And even though Frisch has a championship lead, Josh, it's fading.
Yeah, it's quickly fading here. I'm not quite sure if this is the right way to go about the rest of this race, with Kevin being able to potentially make it all the way to the end here without having to stop. He's got an 18-point differential as we speak, 55 laps led. Kevin has slipped back to the third most laps led. Blake McCandless is up to 16 laps led, with Kevin still only having 14. So that moves that bonus point from 3 points to 2 on his side. And it's just slowly being eaten away. I'm not sure if Frisch pitted a little bit too early here and offset himself too much.
Incredible what the strategy has come down to here late in the race. We're coming to 41 laps to go when the leader gets back to the start-finish line. The gap under 3 seconds for the lead. There you see Dylan Roberts, Daniel Falkingham, Logan Helton. That's the 3-car battle right now for the third spot.
And still a good margin for Michael P. Frisch, but at this point in his run, 32 laps into the stint, his lap times are just, I mean, it's obvious that he hasn't pit in a while. Looking at Frisch running 34.5s, and everybody else, it's kind of a cascading effect where you see Mitchell Riggs is 0.2 faster, along with Dylan Roberts, Daniel Falkingham. But then you look back at Alex Kolnick, who's almost half a second faster. Even all the way back to Blake McCandless, it's a full second difference, which Blake McCandless back in 13th, so it's going to take him a little time. But, I mean, you're going to start seeing these tires set in for Michael P. Frisch here soon, especially when he has to make another stop.
Speaking of stops, Helton is in. David L. Brown is going to be coming back in. Now, David L. Brown, unless he was calling it, no, he was calling it out for somebody else, I think. I think he was calling out for Helton. Freilich is in, though. Yeah, I was going to say, because there's no point in David L. Brown pitting, but Helton is. Zwack's going to be pitting as well. A call for Zwack. Right side's up, and he's down and away. Right side's only for car 63. Zwack onto the pit lane, and Caleb, it seems like 2 tires is the call. By the way, your margin for the lead down under 2 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, if you're coming down the pit road anyways, might as well take those 2 tires and have a fresh set to help aid your lap times just a little bit. Looking back, all these guys that are starting to peel off onto the pit lane, that's helping Kevin McAdams out quite a bit, as he has just, on the racetrack, he's not really around anybody. You see, here comes Frisch. And that's big, depending on where he comes out, because Kevin McAdams coming out of turn 4 here is going to get past this 58. And that's worst case scenario for Michael P. Frisch.
And the question is, what's he going to do? 2 tires, 4 tires, no tires. Into the box. Kalnick's almost lost it, but keeps it straight. Frisch, right sides go up. Looking like 2 tires might be the call for driver 58. Kevin McAdams sits 11th. And Frisch, he is going 4 tires. Huge there from your race leader, Michael P. Frisch. 4 tires.
And that's
with 37 laps to go. I don't know if that's going to work.
I don't know. That's a full commitment to this strategy, though, for Michael P. Frisch. You don't want 2 tires. You're going to want 4, so you can go put yourself in position, give your car the best that it can take. And now, if we don't get another caution, your main objective not only is to now chase down Kevin McAdams, but put enough of a buffer between yourself and that 26 to where at the end of this run, when he is really feeling the hurt in those tires, that you're able to, again, build a margin for yourself and maybe get past some of these guys in the top 10, because right now, Kevin McAdams sitting 10th right now. He is just in prime position here.
Kalnick is in. He was inside the top 10. Car number 22 at least going to take. Gets out of the pit lane, and 2 tires for car 22. He's down and away. Mitchell Riggs, your leader, has almost a 1.5 second lead over Dylan Roberts. Falkingham about a second behind him. And then the closest battle right now on the racetrack for position toward the front, Dubois and Butler. P4, you got the lap car of Justin Melillo trying to snake his way through there as well.
And I mean, it's just a lot of back and forth between Frisch and McAdams right now. Even back up at the front, really interesting that Mitchell Riggs has cycled back out as the leader 28 laps into this run. So, I mean, again, this top 5, you're going to see them start to pit soon. And that would put Blake McCandless in charge of the lead here.
That's Plessel coming in toward the back of the field, sitting in the 19th spot. He's now a lap down as Riggs goes on by. Mitchell Riggs, your race leader, closing in on just 30 laps to go here from Charlotte. At this point, we'll step aside, take one last break before the checkered flag. Mitchell Riggs, your leader. Can Kevin McAdams hold on to the championship lead? We'll find out. 32 laps. Stay with us here on FTF. Coming to 28 laps to go in the Roasted Gems Coffee 150. Mitchell Riggs is your leader. You're watching Michael P. Frisch a lap down, try to get into the Lucky's Dog position here. And he's trying to also race his way back onto the lead lap. Helton is right in front of him. That's the first car 1 lap down. Mitchell Riggs, you see at the bottom of your screen right there, that white car. He is your race leader, and look out as Helton tried to put the squeeze on Frisch. Frisch says, I don't think so. Get out of my way, son. I'm trying to win the championship. He gets on by, and now he's only got about a car and a half between himself and the race leader as Melillo tries to pass Mitchell Riggs, and he does.
And Frisch did a great job sending just enough contact to move Logan Helton out of the way without just straight up dumping him. And now all of a sudden, Michael P. Frisch is really, now his main objective is trying to get around this 09, which is just up the road to put himself back on the lead lap. And as we get later into this run, you'll start to see that difference in tires, I think, from these guys that are trying to make the rest of the race on their last stop, as opposed to Frisch, who's on fresher tires at this point.
Frisch now on the lead lap. So if a caution were to come out, he would at least be on the same lap as the race leader. 26 laps to go. Danny Thompson on the pit lane. Talking while we were away, we think Blake McCandless is going to be the guy suited best here. He pitted 21 laps ago and might be the first guy that can make it to the end confidently. The drivers around him pitted, I think, a little too far away. Mitchell Riggs is going to have to make it 60 laps on fuel. Same with Roberts, Butler, and Dubois. Just a couple laps left, and Riggs is in. Mitchell Riggs onto the pit lane. So your race leader calls it quits. Dylan Roberts takes over the top spot. And McCandless inching himself closer to win number 1 on the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting how this race has started to unravel itself, per se. Looking at these stints, you're going to start to see mainly this top 5 really outside of Blake McCandless have to pit. And looking at that, I mean, Kevin not only is going to be inside of that top 11 where he needs to finish in order to clinch the championship no matter what Frisch does, but he's actually going to have a little bit of a buffer back to that 11th position.
Josh.
Yeah, one of the interesting things that you might have not seen just happen there, but did happen 2 laps ago, is Mitchell Riggs also passed Kevin McAdams for laps led. Now moving Kevin to having only 1 point for having led a lap. Not first, second, or third most laps. He's still at 14, Riggs at 15, McCandless at 16, and Frisch with the most laps led. That's also been locked in for Frisch at 59 laps led. Point differential, 67 points as they stand. Actually, hold on, we got a points update. Let me get you that. Now it's down to 64 points with Kevin McAdams, 64 points out ahead of Michael P. Frisch.
A gap larger than where we entered here. And remember, Frisch lost 10 points to Kevin after last week at Richmond. You're right on board with Kevin? Yeah, okay, well, no graphics. I don't know who we're on board with. It's Kevin. There you see him. And he sits P8 right now. He is some 10 seconds back on Blake McCandless. Pretty far back there. He is clutching a good bit, but I'd imagine he had to do that the last time to stretch it to 50 laps anyway. So they're close on fuel, but as long as they're saving, I think they have a shot to make it.
And again, it's all, we'll see that here at the end of the run here.
Your leader.
3 wide up ahead with a lap car with your new leader, Tyler Dubois. But, there's only 21 laps left in this race. There's not a lot of time here for Michael P. Frisch to make up 25 seconds on your leader, and he's going to need something else to happen to Kevin McAdams here. I don't know. I think the cards are really in Kevin's hands.
Dylan Roberts, Gabriel Mauricio, they're on the pit lane. Roberts was your race leader. So Dubois, the only one left out there, preventing McCandless from getting back out in front. You see the margin. Pretty much nose to tail. A couple of car lengths in between, but no actual race cars. Dubois, the red 60. McCandless, the black, yellow, and white 71.
And McCandless stretching all those laps. You know, he's really put himself in prime position as well, where he wasn't able to really make those spots up under green flag conditions. He was just able to play the pit strategy cards wisely, and now not only does he have a 10-lap advantage on tires to Tyler Dubois, but even Sean Butler, Santiago Tires, Michael Guerrilla, all around him, even has an advantage on 6th place Kevin McAdams as well. As you see, that's Guerrilla coming down the pit lane now, but Blake has just put himself again in prime position to win this race.
Inside 20 to go. 19 laps to go, just 9 days to go to the Bar Visuals FTF 500. Go to ftf.gg for more information to sign up, all that fun stuff. Qualifying is tomorrow on FTF 2. The Brook Clash following 10 p.m. Eastern. You'll find that on the Deuce as well. Saturday, we're back for more qualifying. That's at 5 o'clock Eastern on the Deuce. And then the duels Saturday night, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, rather. You'll find those right here on FTF before we do the soup next Friday, and then the main event next Saturday night. For the lead.
Yeah, here comes Blake McCandless again. Freshest tires of those up here inside the top 10. Well, actually, the top 8, excuse me, with Michael P. Frisch, Mitchell Riggs, the first two on fresher tires. But again, I mean, everybody outside of Blake here is really going to have to. I don't think there's any way around it. I think they're going to have to pit. So Blake, again, should have a great margin back.
Dubois is in.
Yeah, maybe Kevin here can stretch it.
So McCandless, Sean Butler, Kevin McAdams going to be your top 3. Blake is running faster lap times than both Sean and Kevin. Sean ran a 34.9 last time by. Blake a 34.2. Kevin a 34.5. Michael P. Frisch, by the way, P8 now.
And looking back again at Michael P. Frisch right now, was referring to that 24-second margin about 7 or 8 laps ago, and he has not yet made a dent in that. So again, with Kevin McAdams sitting up in the third position right now, unless something happens and Kevin's not able to stretch his fuel all the way, you know, again, Frisch is going to need something like that here in these last 15 laps. A miracle, to say the least.
Tires fell off here for Frisch. His last lap of 34.2. Faster than the cars in front of him, with the exception of Mitchell Riggs, who pitted. He is back on the racetrack, P7. He took just right side tires. And that was some 10 laps ago. So Frisch was fast on 4, but his tires at this point have fallen off. He just got passed by Danny Thompson, and he's going to need a lot of help to catch any shot at beating Kevin on points. 14 to go.
Yeah, again, I think Frisch's only hope right now is that Kevin's miscalculated something here and has to come back down. But even then, it's still not looking great. I mean, this Blake McCandless right now has lapped up to 15th. So, you know, even so, you'd be looking at only about 11 spot margin between him, Kevin McAdams. Yeah, so Kevin would have to finish 22nd, which 22nd right now is the second to last car, 1 lap down. So again, Frisch is just, it's not looking good for him at the moment.
Well, and that's with, as they were running. Sean just pitted, you saw it there. Kevin now P2, which means that Kevin would have to finish 22nd or worse if Frisch maintained his spot. Plus, you have to keep in mind that Frisch would pass Kevin anyway. So that would still be adjusted. Nonetheless, 11 to go, this time by. Blake McCandless just took that, by the way. So he's at 11 to go right now. And he is 11, make it 12 seconds ahead of McAdams and pulling away.
And we're
Josh.
really at this.
Go to Josh.
Yeah, I was just crunching the numbers. So, like you said, hypotheticals here. Let's say Kevin McAdams somehow gets up in some sort of issue, and Frisch is not able to gain any more positions. That'd move Frisch up to 6, and Kevin would need to finish 19th or worse for that to be a Michael P. Frisch championship. Otherwise, it would be it'd be in Kevin's hands. And like you said, it's not looking great right now. That'd be a 1-point advantage if he finished 19th.
Cole Freilich just drifted it through turn 3. He's off the pace on the front straightaway, getting it back up to speed. He was up in the high line, got loose, drifted it all the way down to the apron, was able to slow it down and ride it in the right direction. So he is okay. Interesting now that McCandless is choosing the outside line in turn 1. As you see Colin Larry Pace here, that's about a 4 position. That's for 9th.
And I mean, looking right now, we're getting to that point in the race, only 9 laps to go, where I don't think even a caution at this point would really benefit Michael P. Frisch all that much, because you'd think, almost 30 laps on this stint for Frisch that he would also have to come down the pit lane here. So again, I think his championship hopes are dwindling by the lap here.
Inside 10 laps to go. And all Kevin has to do is keep it straight. Trouble for Freilich, meatball flag. He got loose, overcorrected, got the wall off turn 2. Single car, gets it to pit lane. We stay under green. Terry Murphy pits right behind him. And we have had an incredibly clean race. 1 caution. That's it. We've been green from lap 5 on.
Yeah, and again, having all this pit strategy factor in as well has just completely changed the landscape of this championship fight. Where we thought coming in, maybe we would see more of a slugfest. It's been more of a chess match per se here at Charlotte. But with 6 laps to go, it looks like Kevin McAdams has really put himself in position here to maybe put Frisch in checkmate.
Right on board with Kolonix. Fighting for P10 right now with Falkingham. He dropped back. Actually, Falkingham able to pass both him and Pace.
And Kolonix right now, you see trying to get around Falkingham. And you can see how much wheel input they're putting on exit here, and big wiggle out of Kolonix as well. Lots of wheel input back and forth for that 22 machine. Just shows you how much they're having to wheel it here. Kolonix 30 laps on his stint. But even so, some masterful saving from these top 3 right here with McCandless, Kevin McAdams, and Michael Cozy Jr. 5 coming to 4 laps to go.
Frisch sits P7, 2 seconds behind Jake Nichols. That's the next car for position. We'll see if those drivers can make it to the checkered flag. Cozy's the one I'm most worried about being out there for 48 laps. We're coming to 3 laps to go. For McCandless, he's got Yankee in front of him, and if he's smart, he's just going to draft and try and save fuel off the 14. Out of turn 4, 3 laps to go.
Yeah, Blake McCandless at this point has enough of a margin where I feel like he can safely just push that clutch in and sit here with Chris Yankee in the draft. He's actually going to go to the inside, it looks like. But again, enough of a margin where he should feel safe coming to 2 laps to go here at Charlotte, and this championship picture looks all but over.
All they have to do is get the white flag. If they get the white flag, this race is official. We do have one attempt at a green-white checker if the caution were to come out in the next 30 seconds. 2 laps to go. McCandless, your leader. Kevin McAdams sits in second, some 14 seconds behind. He's 2.5 seconds ahead of Cozy for P2. And he is long ways away in front of Michael P. Frisch for the championship. Lap and a half to go.
And this whole season, it's been all about McAdams and Frisch, and we saw Frisch with a great charge these last few weeks. Had a down week at Richmond last week, but obviously the win at the Legend 500 where Kevin was involved in an accident as well. He's had a great charge, but Kevin McAdams has been the dominant car this season. White flag now for Blake McCandless going through turn 2 for the final time.
McCandless down the back straightaway looking for win number 1. I know he was disappointed that he didn't get to run the Yankee 600 here. Not the Yankee 600, the World 600 rather, back in July. He got to run this tonight. And he's going to make the fuel last to the finish line. They crash behind Blake McCandless wins at Charlotte, wins the Roasted Gems Coffee 150. Kevin McAdams coming through turn 3 and on fumes. Car number 26 is number 1 tonight. Kevin McAdams, your Legend of the Future champion. Kolonix and Pace crashed on the last lap. Kolonix got loose, overcorrected, a vicious crash. This is for position. Kolonix is going to beat him around. He was already in front of him. We'll see if scoring counts this. These are the last 2 guys on the lead lap. And I think Blake ran it out of fuel. Oh, no, he didn't. He's still going.
Yeah, he's got enough for a burnout. And again, just a great win here by Blake McCandless.
Oh.
We didn't see him power through it. Oh, big crash from the champion. Kevin McAdams and your race winner, Blake McCandless. But both of these guys really played this pit strategy about as good as it gets and able to stretch that last stint out to 1 run when everybody else had to do 2. Just a great job by these 2 to put themselves in 1-2 and a great hard-fought championship for Kevin McAdams.
I'm screwing everything up. Don't mind me. Okay, yep, waiting room is where they're supposed to go. All right, well, we'll talk to your drivers in a moment. Let's take a look at your results. Blake McCandless, I almost called him Michael for some reason. I don't know what the hell I was doing. He wins. Kevin finishes second. Cozy third. David L. Brown fourth. Mitchell Riggs fifth. Then Jake Nichols, Tyler Dubois, Michael P. Frisch, Dylan Roberts, Daniel Falkingham rounding out the top 10 of Roasted Gems Coffee 150.
Yeah, Alex Kolonix coming home 11th. Everybody else 1 lap down. Larry Pace, Chris Yonke, Logan Helton, Gabriel Mauricio, Santiago Tires, Michael Guerrilla, Sean Butler, Matthew Zwack, and then Danny Thompson rounds out your top 20.
And the rest here, Art Reimer, all these guys a lap down. Spalding, Plessel, Martin, Sturgill, Paul Gallimore, Cole Freilich, he had some issues late. Justin Malillo, Terry Murphy, Matt Taylor, and then your final 7. Davis Warren. Everybody else here out of the race did not finish. Matthew Gretchen, Philip McCandless, Michael Klein, Jackson Van Valkenburg, Ashton Schleiss, and Michael Moody. Let's take a look at the deal with Larry Pace and Alex Kolonix here before we get to our interviews. Doesn't help that McCandless is deafened, so we got to wait for him too. So here it is.
Wow. That's crazy. He came home in 11th after that, got airborne here on the last lap, and they waited the entire race to do it. See Larry Pace hitting that opening right there. That's just a tough hit for everybody here. Get another look at Kolonix.
Hitting the opening is what cost Pace to getting back to the gas in time and beating Kolonix. He got the wall. It kind of pointed in the wrong direction. and he had to do a lap pretty much and start all over, while Kolnick was able to get it in gear and get rolling right away.
Just a tough hit for both of those guys. Great job for everybody to have that only be 2 cars.
Let's talk to your race winner. No, you know what? Let's talk with the champ, Kevin McAdams, your Legend of the Future Season 1 champion. Congratulations.
How about that? How about that? I did not, when we started this, when Frisch decided, hey, let's get an 87 season together and, let's get the best of the best that love this car so much, including all of us that put it all together. And starting off the season with, I think, is the most flukish win I've ever had at Talladega, and then just pointing my way through. It's the most boring probably way to win a championship, but I will 100% take finishing second 5 times to do it. I hated that I didn't, win a few more races. I was so close at, Richmond last week, Darlington a few weeks ago when Helton won, North Wilkesboro, a lot of Bristol comes to mind. But, just to be in the hunt every single week and realizing, I'm going to be in a really good spot if this continues. Blake decided to stop running as much. Sean had horrific luck the entire year. Frisch had a couple missteps along the way, and it just became a matter of, who's going to take this home and be the most consistent. And thankfully, that's the game I play, and it ended up working out.
Able to come away with the championship. What does this championship mean to you here? Cars you love to drive, you, Sean, it seems like your entire group, that FTF group, loves running these 87 cars. What does it mean to win a title here in these things?
Yeah, it's been a while, and I haven't done anything on iRacing. I feel like, I ran NR 2003 for 13, 14 years. Ran iRacing off and on for that same duration, and didn't really want to make the full commitment. We made the full commitment on the league side back in 2020 and 21, and that this car came out, and I instantly fell in love with it. It's perfect for my driving style, being very, very methodical with the car. You're wrestling it, but you got to be really, really careful on how you drive it. And this car just is perfect for how I drive. And, we all, myself, Frisch, Blake, obviously, with his races coming up, by the way, be sure to sign up for the 87 series he's going to be doing over the 2023 calendar. It's going to be, I think, 6 races over about a 6 or 7 month span. So be sure to check out his Discord and his Twitter to sign up for that. We'll be starting at Auto Club here in a few weeks. That'll be a lot of fun. Sean, obviously, a huge ambassador for the car. It was really nice to see, the people who run this and enjoy it show up week to week. And on top of that, get people that don't necessarily run this car all the time. We had a few Coke guys come in and out. We have a few guys that still run it, who are still here and, are going into their first Coke series. So it's just a really cool thing that we all decided to put together. And I couldn't be more happy to be the first champion of LOTF. It was such a fun and rewarding season.
Any final thoughts?
We'll see y'all for season 2 in about 9 months. And then we will see you all tomorrow in the next gen for FTF 500 qualifying. It'll be a lot of fun.
That it will. Did you hear that? The next gen. The next gen is what they're. Ignore any other. The panic from earlier today. They figured it out. Kevin, thanks for your time. Congratulations.
Thank you, Matt Holden. You are a godsend.
Your Shenandoah Shine Legend of the Future champion, Kevin McAdams. Let's talk with the runner-up in the championship battle, Michael P. Frisch, with Caleb.
Yeah, here with Michael P. Frisch, and the 58 machine was oh so close tonight. We saw you these last few weeks really start to mount a surge for your championship bid and just couldn't play the fuel strategy cards in your favor. What's going through your mind right now?
A lot. What I could have done different, really. But No, honestly, I'm proud of how I performed this season. Honestly, with these guys, tough group here we put on this season, and I can't thank the drivers enough for showing up. Because without them, it wouldn't be a competitive season or a league at all. I'm literally sweating over 50 lap runs here in this car. Of just how hard you got to drive it and how concentrate you have to be. One little misstep, it ruins your whole entire run. So we had to get a little bit off the cards and strategies tonight compared to everyone else, saving gas, and kind of just wanted to hit the green light and go and kind of create a gap. Add an extra pit stop in there to get some fresh tires, but it never really worked out. Me and Blake were in the same Discord, and as soon as I knew I heard Blake was good on gas, I knew Kevin was good sitting P2. So kind of disappointing, but we never put our head down. We got to keep charging and keep our head up. But other than that, it's been a great season. I can't thank everyone enough.
Yeah, and I mean, when we saw you come back down again and take the 4 fresh tires, we were wondering if you'd take 2, maybe go fuel only, but you did take 4. Do you think with those 4, had you maybe gotten a caution that you had the pace to catch the leaders, and on that run, are there any moves that you can think of that you would maybe like to have back at this point?
Well, if we definitely would have got a caution, I definitely would have been back on the lead lap, so that would have been good for me. I could have been with that group of guys, but I mean, I'm really good at this track. I couldn't really tell what I would do on the restart, be inside the top 10. I mean, the top 10 was really, really competitive. I mean, you had David up there, you had Cozy, you had Kevin, you had Blake, all guys that run these 87 cars weekly. So it was going to be a challenge, but I never give up, right? So if there was that opportunity, I would take it. But we never saw that yellow at the end, so I don't think even taking 2 tires would even put me into a winning strategy, honestly, because Blake was a whole 24 seconds ahead of me, and cutting 6 or 8 seconds off my pit stop by taking 2 tires really wouldn't have done much.
Absolutely, and even looking, thinking bigger now, league wide. Here for Legends of the Future, you had a really successful first season. How do you feel on building on this momentum that you have for season 2?
I feel great. I mean, obviously, our first season we had a couple hiccups along the way, but that happens, and we sorted them out. And the group that we have behind the scenes, honestly, they tell me to do so much because I mean, this is my first time putting on the league, so I was given a lot of ideas that I'm going to put myself out there that were bad. And thankfully, I had people telling me do this and do that, and at the end of the night, it put on for a better show. So I can't thank Kevin, Jake for being race control, John for adminning, and obviously the broadcast crew. You guys done a phenomenal job just for hopping in last second. This was all put together in honestly a 2 to week 3 span. Got sponsors rolling for it, and it was a talk on iRacing. So I'm more than happy, and I can't wait for next year. 9 months, really, but season 2.
Well, that's a hard-fought battle. It comes up just short for Michael P. Frisch, finishing P2 in your final standings. And that's the driver, the number 58, Bar Visuals Chevy for now. Jacob?
Shout out to our race control, who is not Jake Poulin. It's Benjamin Easterday tonight. Don't know if you ever heard of him. Nonetheless, I know you've heard of this guy. Blake McCandless, your race winner. Josh Mendoza. Oh, let me try it again. Josh Mendoza's with him.
Blake, we knew you were going to be on an interesting strategy, and we knew you had something amazing cooked up once we saw you going out there and being out there the longest, the first run. Did you have this plan going in already? How'd you figure that one out?
I mean, really, it just came down to, it was lap 2, and we were, 17th, 18th or so, had a really bad qualifying run, and figured, we're already in the back. Why not pit and, add a couple of laps of fuel on lap 2 or whenever it was we had that caution. So we came down, we topped off, and I can't tell you how many times I've done that in races, and then we get a caution 3 laps later, and it totally negates what you did, and you lose your track position. But out of, the 50 to 100 times, somewhere in between there, that, we try to pull some type of strategy and put ourselves in a position like that to think that the whole race is going to go green, it actually went green. So I'm just shocked about that. And once we... once we were in a position there, I was just saving tire, and I think naturally we just had a little bit better fuel mileage, so we had an advantage on that because we ran a couple pace laps, added some fuel there. We probably gained 2 or 3 laps through the first run, and then after that, it was pretty easy to look at the fact that nobody else was going to be able to make it without pitting twice, and we were, unless they really had to save. So this kind of reminds me of Road to Pro Phoenix a couple of years ago, where we were going to take a pit stop out of the race and kill everybody if it went green. Unfortunately, it didn't, but it did this time. So just thankful that we may have had a 20 times multiplier odds on Underdog Fantasy, but you know what? It worked out tonight.
Nice sponsor plug there. So looking right now at the season, you finished 12th, but that's not really the story. It's 7 starts, 2 wins, 3 top 5s, and 5 top 10s. Is there any regret that you didn't race in every race to try and go for the Legends of the Futures Championship?
Yeah, I mean, just some scheduling things that, I couldn't really account for. So it is what it is. I was happy to be able to run the races that we did run. Knew there wasn't going to be a drop going in, so I knew we weren't going to be able to make every race. But still, I had a blast running these. I put on a lot of these kind of longer endurance races in the 87 cars, and they're always fun to broadcast. They're always fun to watch, but it's a totally different aspect to be able to participate and be a part of it too. So thankful to Frisch and Kevin, Sean. I know they've put a lot of time into this league. All you guys up in the booth do a great job covering the races. Ben and everybody that does race control that allows this to go on. It's been a lot of fun these last couple months to come out on Thursday nights and run a lot of these longer pace races, because again, when we do our events, I'm in the booth and I don't race in them, so it's been really enjoyable. And if the league will come back, I'm open to doing it again, and if not, we'll look forward to the California 550 here on March 7th.
Well, there you go. Blake wraps up the season with a win. And, hopefully you can come for all races next time, because I think it would be exciting to see you, Kevin, and Michael all racing each other, hopefully for another championship. All right, that's your race winner here at Charlotte, closing out the seasons. Jacob.
Thank you, Josh. And gentlemen, the season's done.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard fought till the end. Even with 50 150 laps to go, just all race, it was up and down. There was a point where Kevin looked all but finished with the pace that Michael P. Frisch had, but again, that call to really stretch the fuel out, sacrifice tires just a little bit, and make the last of the race on one stop. You heard it there from Michael P. Frisch during his interview when he being in that voice chat with Kevin and Blake, and once he heard Blake, that he was good, and that was only with about 30 laps to go. Only then did he really realize that he might not have a shot here. So either way, it was hard fought. There were punches thrown from both directions, and just what a great way to close the season out.
Yeah, I completely agree there. I mean, the points, it might have been 71 points of differential, but it did not feel like that throughout this race. There were times where it felt like, Frisch had this one in the bag, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, Kevin was coming out, and he was just storms ablazing with his points. But I can't say and without enough that these 87 cars, just one thing they're great at is always putting on a show, making for exciting racing, and I hope we do another season of this. That's all I'm hoping for.
Just have to wait and see. In the meantime, you know the drill. 9 days till the Bar Visual FTF 500. We'll see you tomorrow on FTF 2. You'll be joining a good amount of the crew on FTF 2 for qualifying. Oh yeah, show the points. Might as well, since it's the last broadcast. Kevin wins. Second on back. You can read through it as you so choose. Maybe. I thought we were showing him.
I don't know.
Bueller. I'm not the only one that forgot. Good to know. Unbelievable. Anyway, qualifying tomorrow. We start qualifying. We're live at 8 o'clock. Nope, that's wrong. 5 o'clock tomorrow. 4 hours of qualifying. We take an hour break in there, and then we're back for the Bruck Clash, 40 laps. You can find that on FTF2. Caleb and I will be with you for the call of that. More qualifying Saturday, then the duels that night. 9 and 10 o'clock, you can find the duels here on FTF. Qualifying again on the Deuce on Saturday. Before we get into our regularly scheduled FTF programming the following week. Core is back. I think there's some road course stuff on Monday. Core ends the season Wednesday. Thursday is off. Friday, the Alphabet Soup for the Bar Visual FTF 500. Saturday, the main event, 200 laps, 500 miles around Daytona. For our producer, Zach Johnson, for everybody that's been in the booth this year, Benjamin Easterday, Caleb Hoffman, Josh Mendoza, I'm Jacob Pitts. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you tomorrow on The Deuce. Good night.